Shalom Goyim, hope you are all doing well, back again for another video. So, just a quick update about DarkTide now that its pre-order beta is fully underway and a few days away from release on the 30th. I did say I was going to do this, so here it is. Now, in the meantime, what's changed? Have things gotten worse? Have they gotten better? Is the game actually stable to play now? Is it worth purchasing? Well, that's what we're going to cover today, so once again, just sit back and let me inform you all of the state of DarkTide as of November the 27th. So, ladies, gentlemen, and all the warp entities in between, let's dive back into DarkTide. So, first of all, let's get it out of the way. Let's start with the negative Nancy stuff. Optimization is still kind of janked. There's been a lot more fixes to it, but by Fatshark's own admission, they are still nowhere where they want to be. More people have actually managed to get their games working a-okay, but a few of us are still left in the dark, sadly. I did manage to improve my gameplay somewhat thanks to a good friend of mine named Cavantis, who let me copy his options for a nicer 30 frames per second rather than whatever the fuck the closed beta was. Fatshark still has a long way to go, as the footage on screen proves. Just to reiterate as well, I have an RTX 3080. This should not be happening right now, and is letting the game down tremendously. However, I can safely say that it is amongst Fatshark's main priorities right now, so hopefully, one day, these issues will be gone. It's just a massive shame. It's 3 days away from launch, and we still have to put up with lacking optimization. Oh, and to all the people who gave me shit saying, it's not optimization, it's a bug. Well, like I said, Fatshark themselves said it was an issue. If you go to the Steam page, then just check all the people who are complaining about how bad their performance is. Not everyone is having the same issue, but too many are. That's my point. Now, moving on to class customization. Have Fatshark released subclasses and or different main abilities? Sadly again, no they haven't. I do believe now, however, that characters are designed to use the variety of weapons at their disposal to emphasize what they want to do in terms of roles. For example, Guardsmen can be absolute melee nightmares just by equipping a power or chainsword while being loaded with health and toughness increasing Curios charms. But maybe the hacky slashy Guardsman doesn't take your fancy. Well, how about a purely ranged Ogrin who can just mow down hordes upon hordes of Poxwalkers just using a chain gun alone? Hell, you can even make a sniper build with the Zealot just by equipping the Vrax Headhunter auto gun or the Hellbore Lasgun. Honestly, it's kind of impressive what you can do. Although, now that I think about it, it's less hard speccing into a role you want to specialize in, but more so trying to balance your character into a jack of all trades with items that make up for lacking ability. Like, yeah, sure, Guardsmen can be elite melee tanks given the right setup, but ultimately, you are still marksman numero uno for the squad, as killing enemies from far away will always be your character's hard-coded forte. The same with the damage soaking Ogrin, tanky Zealot, and elite killing Preacher. They are specifically hard-coded to follow a strict role within the squad, no matter in any other way, that you spec. Well, I suppose the next thing to mention, negative-wise, would be the servers. And oh boy, where do I fucking begin? Apologies if I sound like too smug in this section, but I heard so many retards use the same line of, it's a closed beta to test the servers, they're only server testing, stop complaining. Well, dear people, if the closed beta was to quote unquote test the servers, then why have the servers gotten so much worse? At least in the closed beta, it was just crashes before and during social hub sections. But now, God fucking forbid you go through an entire match without one of your characters DCing. And if you were lucky, if you might be able to reconnect to the sessions. Sometimes it even disconnects before the mission even starts. Now, as I mentioned with the crashes, all games can have these issues. Nothing is ever perfect. But the fucking frequency this happens at, dear Christ, this is abysmal. I did point out in the comments on the old video that they should have used a more up-to-date game build to test the servers on, as it would have given more accurate results for the server maintenance team. And before some of you come out and say, well, that's what they're also doing now. Yeah, okay, 2 weeks away from launch, coupled with all the other problems they need to look at. Yeah, fucking swell idea, isn't it? Also, that's another thing that I need to address while I'm on the topic. People defending this game religiously because it's in quote-unquote beta. Betas are supposed to be rough builds of a product that allow them to stress test certain, if not all, aspects of a game. This game's pre-order plan is to slowly release content all the way up to the day before on the 29th of November. And from what I've seen in the game now, this thing looks fucking finished content-wise. But the core foundation is still janky as fuck. This isn't a beta. Don't kid yourself. This is a soft release that needs at least another 2 months in the oven. And those were just the major bugs. Here is a list of all the smaller ones that I haven't even touched upon but aren't big enough to make their own dedicated section. The Plague Dog is broken as a unit. Hands down, like, not only is the AI completely retarded, but this thing has some extra warp ability, allowing it to merge through fucking walls sometimes. It just happened to me on more than one occasion. Sometimes the floor will just forget that it's a floor, causing you or someone else to plunge into the magical chaos realm of under the map, causing you to die after several seconds. Also, good luck trying to invite certain people to a strike team, as the invites often jank out, meaning you have to restart the game to correct the issue. The load times are fucking unbearable at best. One time I even clocked a 7-minute and 30-second wait to get into a hub. It averages about 4 minutes with load times, even stretching to 10 minutes as I've heard in some cases. Oh, another topic. Sometimes when entering a hub, the models on the characters won't load, which isn't a massive issue again, but gets really fucking annoying when you just want to jump in straight away and customize your dude without having to wait about 3 minutes just for all the models to appear. Speaking of customization, I've noticed this happens mainly in that, but sometimes the music just stops. Like, one moment you'll be listening to like an amazing song during a horde mission, and then all of a sudden it'll just go really quiet. And speaking about the shop, when accessing the shop for like the first time when you first boot up DarkTide, sometimes I've had it where it just takes like 3 minutes to load. Like, you and the what's his name? The servitor will just stare at each other in a weird, awkward but loving embrace as he tries to find all the menu items to look through. So, to everyone who's like this, before you die on DarkTide's Hill, or decide to die on DarkTide's Hill, maybe stop fucking sucking Fat Shark's fat cock waiting for that copium cum shot and realise that the game is in a bad state at the minute. Is it full of good content? Is it fun to play? Yes, of course it is. It would be an impeccable game even pre-release. But the foundation it relies upon to perform may as well be made from sticky tape and chewing gum. But it's not all doom and gloom, I suppose. Fat Shark have ambition with DarkTide, and it really does show in what they've given us in terms of content. They've given us even more weapons for us to use. The closed beta selection was already great enough, but now we are just being spoilt at this point. I mean, some weapons are just lesser or more powerful versions of the same weapon, such as the Devil's Claw swords or the auto guns. But the actual variety of the base weapon pool is awesome, to say the least. They've also added purchasable cosmetics both for the weapons and your own character, so you aren't just restricted to completing penances for that sweet Imperial drip. Purchasable, might I add, through in-game coins and not a buyable premium currency. Whether they stick with this is anyone's best guess so far, but happy days. You know, it's nice to see that Fat Shark haven't immediately thrown microtransactions into, again, what I would call a soft release. Can't say that about other companies, so props to them. Now, the weapon cosmetics themselves can range from just colours to entire reskins of the weapon. I'm confident more will launch after the 30th, but I'm just reporting on what the pre-order beta has offered us so far. You know, you can get stuff like weapon charms, frames, and insignias, which are little banners you can get next to your name. And I'm not sure if they do anything, but, you know, they look neat at least, I'll be honest. They've also added a barber section, which you can use to reskin your character's abortion of a face, should you want to change anything about it physical-wise. You can't change the backstory as far as I'm aware, but, you know, it wouldn't make sense for them to actually allow you to do that. It would kind of break the character, so at least they've actually given you a little bit of an option in terms of replayability. Also added are the curios, which, like I mentioned before, are relics which you can buy that help increase your character's stats. I mean, it's mainly health and toughness, but honestly, more of that is never a bad thing. The number of maps and missions added is also impressive, all of which can be played on different difficulties with different secondary objectives, and to top it off, or occasional map modifiers such as endless hordes and very low lighting, which is my favourite if I'm gonna be honest, because it makes the game like so much 40k. Like enemy encounters actually do become kind of scary, especially if it's like a boss battle that you can't see, or when you see like a scab sniper's laser just zoom through the dark in a factory that you can't even see ahead of, like, apart from your own nose. Plus, on those maps as well are an increased number of enemies to fight. Since they launched the pre-order, I know one of them's only been recent, but since they did launch the pre-order, they've added one more special enemy called the Ravager, or the Rager, sorry, which are just Vermintide 2 Berserkers, but they've added 2 entire new bosses as well, such as the Beast of Nurgle, which are just big war machines that'll swallow you whole, and also fucking Nurgle Demon Hosts. That is honestly really fucking cool, I'm not gonna lie. Like, the first time I saw that bitch, I was honestly mouth agape. To be honest, I didn't even start shooting at the damn thing when I first saw it. I was like, no fucking way, did they really just add that? And the next point would be that every single one of the maps that I mentioned is designed beautifully and captures the essence of 40k. Colossal, bleak, and the feeling that everything wants to kill you in either desolate wastelands or cramped hive streets. Another thing is that the game now comes with a dedicated training mode along with a meat grinder section, which allows you to test different weapons against static enemies to see where their weak points are and how much damage your weapons can actually do on selectable difficulty modifiers. This helps my previous video's point of helping people test out builds before going into full-flung matches, so again, good on you, Fat Shark, you did listen to the people. Added as well is a new crafting section, which when complete will let you respec weapon stats, rarities and bonus perks to boot. Even let you upgrade curios, which is a neat little touch in case you grow a little too attached to the holy jawbone in a jar. If people have played Vermintide 2, then you will be very familiar with this system. It's the one you could just go into the menu and just get all your extra resources and shit with upgrades. It's not a new concept, but definitely appreciated that it's here. And I would be remiss without mentioning the soundtrack. It's still just good as before. It is, oh my god, it is Jesper Kyd, you are a musical god. In fact, the full OST of DarkTide even got released on YouTube, which I highly recommend you listen to. Some songs are very slow, methodical, you know, the tension really builds, and some are just, it really captures the essence of an entire horde of demons running toward you. It is honestly just so good. Like, it's worth it for the soundtrack alone, if anything. And I suppose the last thing I can mention is that the game now has a prologue mission which teaches you the ropes of the game, and every so often when you level up you will actually get cutscenes towards a story telling you how it's progressing. Albeit so far a lot of them feel samey you know, talking about how you still need to prove yourself to the Inquisitor, you need to use better weapons, don't die, you know, you need to continue to serve the Emperor, yada yada yada. But every so often you get a really great one that honestly just helps you immerse into the setting itself. I mean, especially with the, actually, no, I won't spoil it here. So, about the top of my head, that about does it. I know I did get a little heated at the start, you know, especially the server section, but again, it comes from a place of love, as I want this game to be the best it can. What's here is phenomenal, but it still needs work. Something tells me that Tencent, the big bad Bing Chilling company that plagues the industry, might have pushed for this game to be released come Christmas, which I can empathise with. It wouldn't be the first time they've done this after all. And don't think I'm not grateful for the sheer amount of crunch they are putting into fixing the game ready for us on the 30th, because I really am grateful. The way they are constantly talking with the community and being 100% transparent is rare nowadays for the company to do, so hats off to the DarkTide team in that respect. So, would I change my recommendation on pre-ordering / buying the game? Well, if you haven't by now, then I would just wait for it to release on the Wednesday, to be honest. But overall, if you are still down for the pre-order, or just still want an answer whether you want to buy it, I personally would recommend it now. For its price tag of £32, or however much it is in Yankee dollars, at the base level, it offers enough. You might have to wait until the game is actually fucking fixed and operable, but I have no doubt it will be eventually. Just kinda wished it was, straight out the box, that's all. But before I go, however, I just want to thank everyone who watched my last video. It is my most performing so far, having gained 40 new subs from it. To me right now, that's honestly, it's amazing, and hopefully I can keep making content you guys like, even if it is just me bitching and ranting. And to everyone who I agreed and disagreed with respectfully, your feedback does mean a lot to me, and I do truly take it to heart. However, to everyone who clearly didn't watch the previous video and still said something absolutely fucking useless, well, thanks for the comment bumping the video regardless. Well, after that was just a quick update, so that about does it for me. Hopefully, I will see a lot of you guys on the 30th of November, slaying heretics in the streets and factories of Tertium alongside me. But, until then guys, take care, thanks for watching.